Katie Rosauer is a woman of many hats. Not only is she applying to be a PA, she hosts a podcast with her best friend where she talks about applying to medical school. And she's helping to provide free medical care with the fires happening in California with her free mobile medical clinic, Medspire Health. And she's an influencer on Instagram, talking about healthy lifestyle and inspiring us with her fabulous fashion. Welcome, Katie. We're so excited to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to chat with you today.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So I just kicked things off with some more fun questions. Okay. Favorite word in the dictionary?
I like the word essential because I think it can be very relative in, taking care of yourself, caring for others. And I feel like as an individual of Medspire, we kind of became the essential medical care that was needed at the time, following the Camp Fire. And so I think that you can take that word and apply it to many different, scenarios. And I feel like the work that I'm going to do in my life as a PA will be essential. And I think the path to learning and everything that, you want to be, you have to put yourself first. And so that's kind of like what I'm going to talk about today too, is essentially making yourself, a priority. And that way you can be your best self to care for others. And so
I think that's awesome. I love how you were able to work essentially in there as well. But
yeah,
I have never heard essential used so much. I'd never even thought about what an essential worker was before COVID and before all of this. But you've undergone like what the fires were in 2018. Can you talk a little bit about starting Medspire?
Absolutely. Yes. It has been a very steep learning curve. Never did I think that I would be a founder of a 501c3 nonprofit. I was actually still in college studying exercise physiology at Chico State, and I was a medical scribe at Feather River Hospital in the ER. Started in May of 2018 and just absolutely flourished. I mean, I was learning something new by the second. And I, being a medical scribe, I'll talk more about it, but it's been the most amazing experience and the most learning experience that I've ever had. And so
what is a medical scribe? I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I get asked this all the time, and it's kind of hard to explain if you're not like familiar with the medical field, but I'm essentially, there you go, the medical provider's personal assistant. I'm charting all the notes. I'm ordering all the labs. I'm ordering all of diagnostic imaging, following up on referrals, placing orders, and just being there to help the medical provider focus on the patient rather than staring at a computer. Patient-centered care is something that I truly believe in. And if the medical provider can care for the patient while I'm over there typing, I think that's amazing. And so I go into every single exam room. I'm there for the entire visit. And so I get to see start to finish on every aspect of a patient encounter, behind the scenes, in the exam room, everything. So I seriously learn something new every day. And so in the ER, I've had a multitude of different scribing experiences in different departments, but in the ER is where I started. And so, I was right there in codes and, scribing everything like so quickly. And,
Wow.
It was, so you have to be a good listener. And so I worked at Feather River Hospital for those, 6-7 months. And then, like I said, I was still going to Chico State. And I woke up, that morning, and my mom asked me, like, Katie, like, come look at the sky, like something's going on. I was like, oh, Mom, like, you're just over exaggerating. And then we have this group me app where all of us scribes would talk and stuff. And so one of the scribes was already up there, and he's like, yeah, this is bad. I see flames all around me. We're evacuating the hospital.
Oh
And
my God.
so, my instinct was like, okay, how do I help? Like, what do I do? And so the day went on, and I, the sky was pitch black. It was 2 p.m. and it looked like it was midnight. And so I actually stayed at school because I obviously didn't want to miss class, and like I had exercise pathophysiology. And so, but then it came to the point where I believe that class was from 2 to 4:50. And so she was like, no, we can't stay, like everybody. And we had obviously classmates that were living in the area. So I was like, how can I help? Because, that's just what my instinct was. And so there were scribes and my medical director at Heather River Hospital, who's actually our medical director now of Medspire, which is really awesome. He was at the East Avenue Church. And so there were over, 500 evacuees at one time in this one gymnasium at this amazing church in Chico. And I showed up and I was like, I'm here to help. I don't care what I do, like I know how to scribe. And so I did that. And so went out to literally all of the tents that were outside. It was freezing cold. And evaluated every patient. And I did that literally for 6 weeks. We were out of school, obviously, and then it ended up being winter break. So, I was doing 18-hour days. I wouldn't go home. And I actually had the opportunity to cross-check the missing persons list and our list of evacuees and found 12 people. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
That's amazing.
So, I was a launderer, I was a nurse, I was a counselor. I say this a lot, but I seriously, like you said, it was perfect, like wore many hats. And so that's kind of like the basis of how Medspire started. In public health and, all of the different rules and everything, we couldn't like keep on having people at this church gymnasium and caring for them and all of that. So we were like, this isn't going to magically disappear or resolve, just because the evacuation shelter is closing. And so we all came together and we're like, how do we start a nonprofit? And so I'm a big researcher, whether it's day-to-day life or, how to do something or where to get this or so. It was really awesome to come together with such an amazing group of people with like-minded, motivation and passion for helping others. And so we kind of just hit the ground running. And like I said, it was a very steep learning curve. We made a lot of mistakes. We, backtracked, we changed our plans. We, just learned as we went. And so all of us are still together we've held 15 free clinic days where we do urgent care, but refilling medications. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but we've actually connected 20 to 30 patients to primary care providers that did not have insurance. And so we pride ourselves in that because now,
wonderful.
We can't really be a primary care provider. We are all volunteer. None of us get paid. None of us get reimbursed. And so we all hold full-time jobs. And so, we do what we can, but to be able to connect these patients for continuity of care is pretty remarkable. So,
wow, that is remarkable, Katie. Oh my gosh, what a story. And to have like the fire so close to you.
Yeah, it was,
ago.
And this year when I actually flew from Scottsdale a couple of weeks ago back to Chico, and just the whole vibe, I have pictures of it. When I got home, I was like, this feels like the campfire.
Oh my
And
gosh.
a lot of my coworkers now, I work at a children's primary care clinic in Chico as a scribe. And a lot of these people lost their homes. And so, it brought up a lot of PTSD and just, I mean, even for me, like I didn't lose my house, and I lost my job, but I, it's just a really interesting feeling. But I'm so thankful that I get to continue to help. And now that COVID is, we kind of have an idea of COVID and the necessary precautions and everything that we can take. We've had 2 clinic days already this month, and we have one on Sunday.
Oh,
And so
awesome.
we're kind of like making up for lost time. This will be our 3rd clinic day this weekend. So.
Oh, that's amazing. And so do you do everything virtually? Is that how you're doing it now?
No, so we're
Oh,
actually doing it in outdoor settings.
oh,
Um,
cool.
we have gotten the most amazing community support. And so everyone's like, yes, of course you can host your clinic days here. And so we're still holding our clinic days in fire affected areas in Butte County. But we do plan to proliferate our resources and services to other, areas that may be affected by the fire. But honestly, we've been, caring for people who have even moved here after the fire, or,
Wow.
we don't require ID, we don't require insurance, you don't have to be a Butte County resident. We have people literally drive from Reading to come see us.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty amazing, the trust that we've built in the community, and we're going to continue serving. So
That's amazing. What is next for Medspire? What are your guys' plans? I mean, COVID has thrown a wrench into everything, but
right, that's our revolving question. I
oh,
mean, so originally we wanted to create this mobile medical clinic where we had this RV size, RV, and have it medically equipped to go to different places that need medical care, free
cool.
medical care. Yeah, so we it's always been on our mind, but obviously that takes money.
Yeah.
And we have an amazing grant writer on our team, and we've received so many amazing grants that we're so thankful for, and just personal donations too.
Wow.
Yeah, so our next step really is to get we're thinking about getting a sprinter van.
Oh, cool.
Not so much like the big RV, but just medically equip a van that would be like our Medspire van. And so just to be able, we literally use our own cars to, take things from
Yeah.
a storage unit and set it up. So it would be nice to have one central area of supplies and equipment.
Hmm.
So that's really on our next plan, I guess.
That's amazing.
We're going to continue to do our free clinic days.
Hmm.
We actually, a big part of when we started, we are going into the tent cities
Oh,
following the fire. Even there's people still living in tents up in the hills.
wow.
And so a lot of what I did personally was going in and helping these people and bringing the medical care to them, because a lot of these people are elderly, they have chronic conditions and don't necessarily have physical access to healthcare. And so that's the main goal of Medspire, is to bridge that gap and continue the continuity of care, really, and get them connected to resources that they need. So
Wow. Thank you, Katie, for all that you're doing. Oh my gosh.
oh, it is, I couldn't see myself doing anything else. It's funny that you say that, because I was sitting there yesterday just scribing and thinking about, my sister studying interior architecture, and she's so talented with that. And I'm like, I couldn't do that. This is my calling. This really is.
Mhm.
And so, I work with kids now, and my mom had a daycare for in a preschool ever since I was born. So I've always been around
Wow.
children. And so, I feel really in my niche,
Mhm.
I'm with these kids and learning about medicine and caring for people. And I work at a Native American health clinic. And so
Cool.
a lot of our patients, the majority of them are, Medi-Cal patients, no insurance. So it's fun because I get to do it as my job. And then I also get to help people, as a hobby.
So how did you get into the medical field? So you've been around kids forever, but when was that spark, like, I need to work in medicine?
Yeah, it sounds kind of crazy, but at such a young age, I was so fascinated with disease. And I did a lot of research, honestly, as a really young child. I mean, I remember 5th and 6th grade, I was, reading My Sister's Keeper. I'm not sure if you
I didn't ever
are
read
familiar
that.
with that. It's a girl and she's young and she gets cancer and she has a sister. And that really sparked an interest for me, or not necessarily an interest, but just confirming the fact that I was interested in disease. And I was like, I feel like I could help. Like, I feel like I could figure it out. Like, I'm a figure it out kind of person. Like, I'll figure it out. And so at just a really young age, I was, researching about all kinds of different professions. And I became a junior volunteer at Enloe Medical Center when I was 16. And
Wow.
when I was able to drive, I was able to volunteer there. So I did that for 2 years. And then I was a college volunteer at Enloe Medical Center as well. And I worked as a patient monitor. I worked in medical records at Enloe for 3 years. So I learned a lot, surprisingly, like medical records. I mean, I'm reading all kinds of different procedures and different histories and diagnoses.
Wow.
And, so that's kind of like where my grounding, of medical care started. And then I was like, I want to do patient care. And so then got a job at the river and as a doing patient care in the room. But I had a little bit of a I didn't just start college and decide that I wanted to be a medical provider.
Okay.
I changed my major to mechanical engineering, and I was a mechanical engineering major for 2 years.
Wow.
I have a really big passion for cars. I love cars. I've loved cars. I've built and designed cars online since I was literally in 2nd grade.
Cool.
I know, crazy. So
what's your
I love
favorite
cars.
kind of car?
Everybody always asks me that, but I don't necessarily have like a favorite car. I love like features. I love German cars.
Huh. Okay.
I love Audis, and I had an Audi for my first car, and it was just the best. I went to the BMW factory in Germany.
Wow.
Like I love cars. And so I was like, I want to design cars. I don't know if I want to be a medical provider.
Huh.
I had a lot of anxiety when I graduated from high school, and I think thinking I had to figure it out and I had to know what I wanted to do. And I was like, I don't really know. I haven't tried it. And that's something also that I pride myself in, is I don't know if I like something unless I try it, right?
Yeah.
And so I decided that I was like, I'm going to try to design cars. And so I really did some more research, and I really didn't want to design like chassis and things like that like really built the car. I really wanted to do the design part of it, which I figured out was not really possible as a mechanical engineer. But so I would have had to go to art school, and I was like, I'm not an artist. Like, I'm science, figure it out kind of person. So I actually got an internship at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. I was a design engineer for Defense Technologies Engineering. So
Wow.
I worked
Cool.
on a gas gun that was part of testing nuclear material for the United States Air Force.
Wow.
And so I did that for the summer of 2016. I mean, I loved it. I found it really interesting, but it wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I wanted to talk. I wanted to make a difference. And sitting at a computer all day was not my vibe. So,
It's good to
I
figure
ended
that
up
out.
thinking, yeah. And so I'm really thankful for the opportunity. I mean, I connected with so many people and networked, and, you know, I got back and I was like, I want to do medicine. So I did
Amazing.
exercise physiology. It was the best decision I've ever made. I mean, it was biomechanics, psychology, core sciences, disease, pathophysiology, just like everything wrapped in one. And so it was perfect. And so it really prepared me to apply to PA school as well. So
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. And then just switching gears a little bit, something we always ask on the podcast is, what is your definition of womanhood?
yeah, so I love this question because I think it's very encompassing to think about optimism. Um, I I didn't, I've always been very intrinsically motivated, and I know that not everybody's like that. Um, I'm the first in my family to go to college or graduate from college. Both sides, aunts, uncles, everything,
Amazing.
cousins. So being optimistic that that was possible was game changing for me. And being able to, I've made mistakes. I've made multiple mistakes. I didn't just go A to Z without mistakes in the middle, I'm continuing to grow every single day. And I think that is being a woman, realizing that you're going to continue to grow in every single experience that you endure, and being okay with that, and knowing that you have the power to create change is, I think, the most important thing. Because if I sat here and, only men are doctors, which is kind of like, but it is, like even some of the female physicians and providers that I work with, they think of like, oh, well, I'll reach out to him, and they don't even know who it is, right? As a specialty doctor or something that they're referring to. And I'm like, could be a female.
Yeah.
Could be a female. But so I think being optimistic and realizing that anything is possible, and I know it sounds very cheesy, but it truly is. And I think realizing that you're gonna hit speed bumps, and you might even go backwards. I mean, I thought I knew what I wanted to do, and I thought that I would be already in PA school by now, but I've experienced so much life and different things and felt different things. And, I think being optimistic is the key to success, because if you have a closed mind, you're not going to grow. And I think growth is the key. So
thank you so much, Katie. I think that's awesome. Like just the idea of optimism. That's something that we all need to really keep in mind, especially right now with everything that's happening in the world.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I'm really big with affirmations, and I'm really big about quotes and things that I read, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I listen to a lot of books. And I actually, I'm not sure if you're familiar with David Goggins.
No.
Okay. So he was a Navy SEAL, and he is literally the epitome of success made through mistake. I mean, he didn't give up. And his book, I've listened to it twice now. It's Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And he talks about this integrity mirror. And if you look at my Pinterest board, I mean, it is literally the number one board that has the most pins is my inspiration board. And so I find a lot of inspiration in these quotes. And so the integrity mirror is affirmations, and my door is closed, but it's actually on my bathroom mirror. I have about 50 different Post-it notes. You can see the Post-it notes on my door. But all of these things that I read every day, and I think that is a really important thing to do, because you don't just wake up every day and you're motivated. Like, you don't. And this morning, did I really want to get up at 4:45 to go work out? Absolutely not. I wanted to sleep. But I knew that if I did it, I would be very happy with myself, and my day would be better. And so I'll read you a few. I took a few off of my my mirror this morning. I always ask myself, does this support the life I'm trying to create? And I think every single decision that you make leads to the life that you're trying to create. Whether it's, you know, going for a run, eating that burger that you probably shouldn't eat. You know, like just like very simple things, I truly believe lead to happiness, and not just like, oh, when I get this, I'll be happy. I've really tried to embrace, you know, the different obstacles, almost like even trying to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And another one is I have the power to create change. And what I talked about earlier is how, oh, what are you going to do once you graduate? What are you going to do once you graduate from high school? Do you know where you want to go to school? Do you know what you want to be? It's like, no, I haven't tried it. I don't know, you know? And so this one says, actually, life is beautiful and I have time. And, you know, back to the whole womanhood thing, my family, so my family's very close. I wrote down some things that I wanted to talk about teamwork, because the whole Medspire would not happen without teamwork. I mean, we've all brought different, you know, aspects to create what Medspire is today. But also with teamwork, I feel my family has been that, you know, since I was born. They've shown me what teamwork is and how to do the things that you want to do. You can't do it always alone. And so I have a little sister. She's 3 years younger than me. We're best friends.
Awesome.
Always have been. But my cousins, I have 6 cousins, and we have all grown up together, like we're siblings, and they're all having kids. And so the first little baby in our family was a girl. And so ever since she was born, we've always just said girl power, girl power.
Yes.
And so she's 3.5 now, and she's just the light of my life, but she will literally go around and say, yeah, girl power runs the world. And
yes.
It's just like, you know, it's something that I really want to inspire in other people, because, you know, I've defied the odds of graduating from college as a first generation college student, you know, being female and wanting to go into the medical field. I was one of the first and only females to go to this internship at Lawrence Livermore, you know, so it's like, I think womanhood and optimism and teamwork and knowing that you can do it is just what needs to be reminded in your brain every day. And that's why I have these little sticky notes. And so I just think reminding yourself on a, you know, the small things really add up to the big things. And I something that I pride myself in.
Thank you so much, Katie. I think there's like so much to take away from that. I love this idea that you have, that really everything matters into like what you want to see in your life. Like, just even your example of like, should I wake up so early in the morning? Yes. Or should I eat this cheeseburger? Maybe not. But I think that's really cool, and like a great takeaway from today of like, especially us like still stuck at home in quarantine or COVID, wherever anyone is in the country right now. Just like thinking about like, how can I still be living my life and be happy within these circumstances by making these little changes.
Exactly.
Or these mantras, affirmations that like we should put on a Post-it note.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Quarantine has been life-changing for me in many ways. I mean, I know a lot of people have taken it like, oh, I have to stay inside, or, you know, I can't be active, or, you know, I've put on quarantine 15, or, you know, and it's actually been the opposite for me. I've taken the best out of what quarantine can give me. I was furloughed for 5 weeks from my job. And that's when I really got back into my daily exercise. And I started a side business with Arbonne, and I have connected with so many positive, influential women, honestly, through that. And I've been consistent ever since. And so I really took what I had control of and ran with it. So.
That's amazing, Katie. Is there anything else you'd like to add to our listeners today?
Yes, I have this one finishing idea.
Great.
I think don't take no for an answer. And the one thing that I do want to add is this quote that I absolutely love. It's be you, do you, for you. Do what makes your heart thrive, your mind challenged, and do it all for you. And so.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Katie, for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was so lovely to get to meet you. Oh my gosh.
Yes, you too. Thank you so much for reaching out and believing in me and what we're doing with Medspire and my journey
Yeah.
as a PA. And